Hi everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Uh, I am Priya Sindkar, and I'll be talking about all the new features that have come up with Android Studio Giraffe and Android Studio Hedgehog. Giraffe is now a stable version, but Hedgehog is still a release candidate, which means that we can start using Hedgehog pretty much. And I most of the times I work on Giraffe, and I jump to Hedgehog for experimenting with all the new studio features. So I'll be giving a talk on that. I have a handful of experience with these versions. Before I start, a little bit about myself. I am Priya. I have around 8 years of experience in mobile app development. I usually lead Android and Flutter projects in my company, and I usually, manage all the mobile apps. Apart from that, I'm a technical blogger. I'm a public speaker. I've been in the community since a long time, and I am also a WTM ambassador. And apart from this, my hobbies lies in reading and writing. So that's where I started off with technical blogging. I was a very shy speaker at first, but now I'm gaining the momentum to do that and to share my knowledge, because I feel that technical blogs, it's important. Along with the technical blogs, it's important to give talks, about the things that I'm passionate about. This talk is one of the outcomes of me being passionate about experimenting with the new studio versions. So that's where the talk is coming from. So, agenda today would be divided into three parts. The first one would be how the studio UI is enhanced to a new look. I'm sure everyone must have gone through the new UI at least once, but I'll be talking about what else you can do with the new UI, like what is new with the device explorer, what is new with the device manager. Next, I'll be talking about how you can inspect your layouts composables, especially where you can how you can preview your running devices, how you can mirror the running devices. Like I've been using SCR CPU since a very long time now to cast my mobile screen onto the laptop, because as we know, emulators take a hell lot of time and hell lot of RAM to come up. So I find this mirror devising feature very exciting with the new studio version. Along with that, we also can now inspect layouts directly from our physical devices via the running devices feature, which is really cool. Uh, and again, you can use live edits, a very which is finally reached to a stage where you can actually apply the instant runs pretty much on a very good level. At first, it kind of failed with the new instant runs, but now I I got the gist of it via the composables. So that is also a cool thing that I'll be talking about. Next, I'll be talking about running your debug apps in the profile level mode, where you can see the CPU monitoring and the monitoring. This feature has been introduced back in Flamingo, but I still consider it to be quite new, that it has not reached the masses yet, or the masses are still not using that. So I would like to touch up a bit on that topic as well. Next, I'll be again talking about multiple previews, how you can have multiple composable previews in your studio itself, and how you can use those previews, multi previews, to your use to make sure that your apps look really cool on all the platforms. Then I'll show you a bit about how you can use the compose animation preview. That is also quite interesting for me, because I'm not good at putting the animations forth, and to testing them is a whole other pain for me. So this has been a very good tool for me. Next, again, I'll be talking about something which was introduced in electric air, but it's still quite handy, and features are been kept on adding to this app quality insights where you get all your crashes from the cachelytics directly in the Android Studio, from where you can judge how your app is going on, how the crashes are, what kind of users it is affecting, what kind of devices you should be targeting to fix the crashes, and so on. Android Vitals is something new to Hedgehog, which has been introduced in Android Studio, where you can actually check out the Android Vitals from Play Console directly in the studio itself. So it's quite interesting. I still not have tried it yet, but I would like to try that. So, but I can give you an overview of where you can find it in Android Studio and how you can use it and what all details you get from it in the studio. Again, Giraffe has come up with a very cool Kotlin DSL, inbuilt Kotlin DSL support, where now your Gradle files can be in Kotlin, and where you can now start building new apps using the new version catalogs, which are again very good enhancements to managing your dependencies in the project. So uh, yeah, that's it. I'll now go to Android Studio to check out. First of all, this is what the new UI looks like. If you guys have experimented with it, you would be aware of this. But I really like how it's very compact and how all the tool windows are hidden, and you can just see a lot of your code inside this, which makes it great. Because try to split your when you try to split your screen into half code and half design, it really does not give you a good experience. And for me, this has been the most exciting feature for when it comes to the new UI, because I have always been a dark theme person. So using this theme has been a lot of exciting for me, and I've never gone back to the the previous layouts. uh, as you can see, the file menu, the entire main toolbar is hidden here, which you do not really use often when you are coding Android apps. So again, this is a very cool feature where it's all hidden. I especially love all the iconography here. Like you can, it you will have some time acclimatizing with the new icons, but it's when you get a gist of it, it's really cool, because it's just a small button, and it doesn't distract you with all the texts. And especially if you're using large fonts for your IDE, then I think that this works out best. Also, the new layout comes with a lot of new features. Like for example, if you go to device manager, you can see all the devices are neatly arranged here. You can also group them according to their status or their type. Let's say, for example, you have a physical device and then you have a few emulators, then you can easily see them apart. And if you have a lot of emulators, you can just go to the physical device, and then you can just simply use it and differentiate it. Like I have been through a phase where I had I have been building a app which was used across form factors, and to have all those emulators inside your studio and then to search for the right emulator for the right time was a really a pain. So I especially love this, where I can just hide all my other non-wanted devices here. So this is a good thing. Again, this is mostly the same. Then you have pairing devices using Wi-Fi. Again, a lot of us would be using it from now, but it's just a button click away. You don't have to go anywhere, and you don't have to type the ADB command from now. So you can just directly scan the QR code or write in the pair code, and that's it. You're good to go. And it's all inside the device manager. Here you have a running devices uh, toolbar, which essentially just mirrors your physical device. Like I have my device going on around here, so it's really good that it's finally something which I cherish as a part of new studio releases. where I can just mirror my image right there in the Android Studio, and that's it. Because usually my screens is too small, and I don't like having two screens, like one screen for studio, one screen for my chats, and one screen for my tabs. I don't like that. So having the emulator or my devices directly into my studio is really a good thing. Again, you can manage your devices directly from here, where you can just use all these shortcuts which were already available in our emulators directly here. You don't get that with HCRCPY, but you get it now from the running devices. You can also choose to dock it or unpin it or undock it and let it float around on by itself. It's really kind of a personal choice, which you can do. I usually put it right there in my studio, where I can see my code and I can also see my screen. But sometimes when I am coding for a tablet, or let's say a TV version, then I would just I undock it from the studio and have it as a standalone video, which actually helps. So a really cool feature. Then I would like to talk about new things in Device Explorer. You can now directly open the Device Explorer right from your device manager, where you can go to the uh, set here more options, and then you can click on open in device explorer, and you get the new device explorer, where you can now select your devices also, as well as you can see the files as they are. But you also get all the shortcuts that you usually used to get from right clicking on that particular file or folder. You get them directly above the whole menu, so you just click on something that you want, maybe some data or some file in your app, and you can simply synchronize it for the database to sync, or you can simply download it from here. So it's just a small change they have made, that they have put the context menu on the top with the cute buttons. So I really like that. Apart from this, you now get to see all the processes that are running in your device. Let's say I'm running my app, I'll see that process right here, and I can choose to either kill the process, or I can attach the debugger from here. Earlier, the attach debugger, as we all know, was along with the debug and the run buttons, but now it's inside the processes, which gives you a perspective, where if you have a lot of processes going on, and you are suddenly facing an ANR, then you can simply go to the processes and you can kill the processes or stop force the processes. Earlier we used to go to app info and then stop the process, but now you can do it directly from Android Studio, which is really great. Again, you can refresh the list of processes, where you can see everything. You can even see the ABI version, and you can see whether it's attached to a debugger or not from this thing. So this is really new cool feature. Uh, Next, I want to talk about how you can inspect your layouts, your composable previews inside your studio itself. So here I have two previews of the composables. Like these are my two composables. You can see the two previews here. The first preview has a view model attached inside it, where I get the data from the view model and I collect it as a US data directly inside the preview. In the other preview, if I don't want to use the view model, then I can pass mock parameters from there. And as you can see, I have a preview parameter here, which takes in a preview parameter provider class, where I feed the preview all the data that I want inside my preview. So it helps a lot of time if you have the previews do not allow network calls, and this could be a bottleneck for you to visualize your data. when you can't get data from the network, which is essence, which would be the essence of your app. So you can mock that particular data from the preview parameter itself, and then you can feed it to the preview, the composable preview, and you can start using the previews. So I have two kinds of previews over here. Um, the preview comes with a lot of settings that you can use, a lot of parameters that you can use to see how your to visualize how your app will look like, and how you can explore other things like adaptive colors or the dynamic colors or the adaptive icons or something like that, which is really cool. So with the hedgehog canary 11, I guess, you get this small settings icon, configuration icon over here, which if you click on it, you can see all the parameters, preview parameters that you have set for your preview, composable preview. You can name it, you can group it, and you can use the group as well via annotations. And you can simply use it. For example, if I want to see uh, how my layout would look like if my wallpaper was green dominated. So I'll simply click on the green wallpaper, and I can see that my preview has now changed to take the dynamic color from a green wallpaper. So I can use it to visualize things like that. For example, if I want to see how my app will look like if I don't want to put up a status bar in my previews, I can simply use it and check how it will look like whether if this would particularly be helpful when you have a app which has a background, transparent or translucent background for your app, and you want that image to go up till the top of your device, and you don't want your status bar to be hindering that. You just don't want to show the status bar when your app is running, so you can check that visually over here as well. uh, Another fascinating thing about having previews is that now they have come up with multi preview templates where you can check how your app will look like. Let's say if your fonts have been scaled up in Android 14, your users can now scale your fonts up to 200 percentage. So you want to see how your app will look like if you want your app to look nice when you are supporting the font scaling as well, if you are targeting Android 14 now. So you want to make sure that you want to test. So what you can do is you can use one of the review templates, which are screen sizes, based on screen sizes or dynamic colors or font scale. Now if I use font scale, it gives me a list of font scales. uh, wh- uh, I think there are around six of them which you can use and check all the font scales. If I go inside the code, if I can, let's see if it shows up. Yeah, it did. It took a bit of time, but it did. So as you can see, this shows me all the previews where if your fonts were 100% scaled, or if your fonts were 115% scaled, or 130% scaled, and so on. So again, this is a tedious task of scrolling down through all the previews. So you also get the uh, option of your forming a grid inside your forming a grid for your previews. So if I can just pull it up a little, yeah, you can see all the font scaling available to you, and you can now decide whether you want this particular font or not. If you are supporting font scaling, if you are targeting Android 14. So this really helps. Again, like font scaling, you also have screen sizes as well, where you can monitor your previews for array of form factors, like if you want your app to target a tablet as well and a phone as well, then you can use that here also. I think it will take some time to come up. I hope it comes up. It should. Yeah. So you have a phone, you have a tablet, you have a desktop, and you can now visualize your app on all these form factors, and you can now see whether your UI is looking good. So definitely, if your phone is in landscape, you need to add some padding to your left and right margins to make it more decent looking. So now I know how I can use these previews to set my composables, to fine tune my composables for managing. Similarly, you have another all other sets of preview templates which you can now use, like light and dark theming, like for with dynamic colors, without dynamic colors. That oftentimes people I see people are still not ready to support dynamic coloring in their apps. But now I have a app which I want to be support, which I want to use it as something which can also support dynamic colors from the wallpaper that we are using currently on our devices. So this could be a starting point of uh, testing your composables to see whether they are looking good or not, whether they how they appear on different how they would appear on majority of the devices if the colors are weird, and if you want your app to start using dynamic colors. Again, you can use also API preview APIs, where you can preview your composables on different API versions. Like if, for example, if you are still targeting 24 version API, then you would like to understand how your composables would look like, because some of the libraries may not be back tracked, and you would backward may not be backward compatible, and you would like to see how they appear on the previous versions of the APIs as well. Then you can use the preview API template as well. This is a really cool new feature which you can easily look through to make sure that your composables are pixel perfect on all the devices. Next, I would like to talk about how you can use uh, your running devices, or the devices that you're monitoring, to use what you can uh, see how you can use the layout uh, ma- uh, sorry layout explorer, layout what inspector, sorry, I'm layout inspector on your running devices. So okay, let me try to run this again. Okay, I guess I'll try to bring back my device. Meanwhile, I'll jump to another feature which I was supposed to talk about after talking about the layout device, was that when you are using the previews from the composables, you can now directly select a preview, and then you can simply choose to choose to either start interactive mode, where you can see from the previews itself how your composables would look like, or how your composables would react to all the user interactions from the app. So you can directly use that without running the app on your devices, and you can simply start using the interactive mode to see how your checkboxes, or how your drop downs, or how your radio buttons are reacting to, or how your keyboard is supposed to be opening up in your composables. So you can try to do that from the interactive mode on the composable previews itself. uh, Next, you can also again start run the preview directly on your device. So you can only run this particular preview, or this particular composable directly on your device. My device is I hope to get it online right now. I hope it does. So it's still running the device, the preview on the device. Just hope it starts. So you can directly run your composable on your device. You don't have to build the entire app and wait for Gradle to build and start seeing what your UI will look like. You can simply use the previews, which is really cool because composables are meant to be shorter versions of what your screen is going to be. Like for example, you have a lot of sections in your screen and you would really want your all those sections to be of different composables, and you can directly use those independent composables in your previews to check out how each section will look like, and then you can club it together in another preview and see how that looks like. So previews are really helpful in that sense. Still not running. I don't know what's wrong with my device today. Let's see if I can get it back again, because without that, how are we going to proceed? Okay, now next I would like to talk about live edits, where you can start using your instant runs directly from Android Studio. You can, let's say you have a button here and you want that button, as you can see in my cannot cast it. So okay, the button, as you can see here, my button is red, but it's really not going with the theme, and I would like to try different versions of that button to check how it will look like in real time. So I would really like to get rid of the red button, and I would want that button to have a dynamic color which is similar to what my other app is using. So I would just go to that button, and yeah, I'll just remove the red button. And as you can see here, out of date comes up, which means that my composable is still out of date, which I'm seeing on my device, and I would like to run the live edit to see what this particular change does. I cannot show you here, but if I start and go and update it, it will update my UI without me having to run the app again, which is again a really cool feature, because instant runs have been there with Android Studio since a long time, but I didn't really find it useful earlier because it was all messy, and it still sometimes it would just still ask me to run my app again. I don't know why that was, with whether it was with me or whether it was really the idea of instant runs with the XML files. But with composables, live edit works really well, and it saves me a lot of time that was earlier used for context switching. So it's really a good feature to have again. I'm so sorry I cannot show you here. My device has just given up, and I didn't think of having a backup device with me for this talk. Lesson to be learned. Next, I would like to quickly talk about app quality insets, which were there since Electric Ale, but again, a very much useful feature for me, because when you have a lot of bugs, and especially if you have a device specific bug, it really is a pain to go to Firebase Crashlytics and see what your app is going through. But now, when you have this is an exception which I generated, and it shows me which devices it affected, which Android versions it affected, and whether it's a version, what kind of version it is, what kind of error it is, whether it's a very early error, or whether it's a fresh error, or whether it's something which is very repetitive, and whether it is regressive. You had already solved the bug, but it still came up anyhow. So it really is helpful for you to just check all these features directly inside your Android app. And you can also select the operating systems, like you know that your bug is coming only on Android 14, and but it still shows again on all of the API versions, and you know that now it only affects Android 14. So you can just simply use these filters inside your app and just inside your studio, and you can just jump to the line of code. Here you can see that earlier it was this is where my divide by zero line was. So you can just simply go there, and then you can check what that issue is. So this was already there in Electric Ale, but what's new in Hedgehog is Android Vitals, where as you can see these are the projects which I have on my GitHub right now. So not showing anything because it's not clubbed with that. But you can see all the Android vitals that are new again on Play Console, and you can check again. You can check all the you can filter all the issues or the things that come up in Play Console directly inside Android Studio, where you can again filter all the things from using all these filters. And I just wish I could show you my device, but again, a new feature in Hedgehog is that you can now take notes about the error. Like, let's say, for example, you have particular steps to specific steps to reproduce your bug, and you want your team to know about that, then you can add your notes from here directly inside of Android Studio, and you can keep on editing the note. You can also check who have added the note on what time, and you can simply either delete it when it's used up, or you can copy if you have similar steps but only a few changes in those steps, and you can copy the note and then you can use it directly inside uh, this Android Studio, and you can check how you can, these notes would really help you. I have not used it yet in a running project, but it would really help you to understand the errors and communicate with your team as the errors come and go. So it's really a nice feature that Hedgehog has introduced. Next, I would like to talk about next and the last thing of this talk is Kotlin DSL is now built in inside of Android Studio, right from Hedgehog. And if you let's say go and create a new project, then you can simply select whether you want a Kotlin DSL, or if you want to go still stick around with Groovy, or you can also select whether your project wants whether you want version catalogs to be there in your project or not. So this is what is inbuilt in Android Studio Hedgehog, and now Kotlin DSL, of course, is recommended by the Android developers team themselves. So now from on Hedgehog onwards, you don't have to go to the migrating guide on the documentation and migrate your Groovy file to Kotlin file. You can simply use the new version directly from, of course, for new projects, but it would, help to just start up with this thing. So it's really nice thing to go on. And another thing that Giraffe has come up with is inbuilt support for grammatical inflections, where you can now have resources, string resources for gender specific locales or gender specific strings as well. So that is also something which is inbuilt right from Android Studio Giraffe. And I think. think I've covered it all. I so wish my device had not gone bad, but I think this is it from my end. I hope you guys learned a few things from my talk, and I hope that it will help you to utilize Android Studio for more productivity in your daily Android development, application development. And thank you for being here and seeing my talk. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Priya. That was wonderful. Technical
Thank you.
difficulties happen very often in
Yeah,
our talks because that's the nature of the game.
yeah,
I want to give attendees another minute or two to just post questions if you have them. I have a question I posted for you, but we can get to that once everybody gets a minute first.
sure.
How do you feel your talk went?
It went well. Like I have already given this talk twice, I guess, before, with of course covering some previous Android features as well. So covering only Giraffe and Hedgehog was my point of using this platform to convey, because I feel that this platform has more intermediate and advanced audience than you usually get when you are dealing with other platforms. So I wanted to do that when a few things were new, and I really wish my device had not given up on me, because I had interesting things to show how you can use the previews and live edits. But I guess people now know how that works, and maybe they'll try to use that.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like my personal use of Android Studio is I wait as long as I possibly can before I upgrade. It's until like there's like a AGP, like Android Gradle plugin issue or something. Because I've
It's
like
always an issue.
yeah, right, it is. I've upgraded early in the past, and it has bitten me so hard with like those early bugs. It's like, I didn't join the Canary channel for a reason. I'm
Yeah,
unstable. I don't want stable.
I was like this, but then I had this client with me. I worked with him for almost 3 years, and he kept on demanding me to use the new AGP versions. He, kept on demanding I use new studio versions. So
Hmm.
ultimately, it got me into the habit of doing that. But of course, I explore Android Studio on only my playground projects, but now I use them with my production apps as well, because of this client and because of his irrational needs to just keep on upgrading dependencies. But I guess it helped me.
Hmm. That is a useful thing to be forced into doing, I guess, from that perspective. Like you do adjust and probably learn how to report things more effectively. Hmm.
Yeah, actually I've been reporting on issue tracker a hell lot of more about Android Studio than I used to after
Hmm.
I switched to this habit.
Interesting. And as fellow developers, I'm sure they are very appreciative.
Yeah, they must be. They want us to try these things and report things back to them.
Okay, it looks like we're good for questions, so I'll start with mine, which is just coincidentally first. Can you read what I have displayed on the screen, Priya?
Yeah, I don't really use uh, Acha, you use most. Okay, live edits are something which I use now daily, and I have been working on supporting form factors for a project which has been going on since the last 3 months. So I've been using the device manager a lot, and because I have now to work on different devices, different form factors, so I use that a lot as well. Crashlytics, again, app insights, quality insights are again something which I use for most of my projects now, because it's easier for you to just get the beta and alpha bugs right there in Studio, which helps you with the context switching. So these are the three most important features that I use till now.
Interesting. Thank you. I won't ask follow-up questions because that would make me special over the others because I'm actually on video, so I'll restrain myself, and we'll move on to the next question.
Curious, how have you felt about stability versus previous versions? With Hedgehog, I have not encountered much problems as I did with Electric Ale, to be honest. Giraffe is something which I use only for my Flutter projects, as I work on Hedgehog for my Android projects. And till now, I don't really have any problem with Hedgehog. I had a lot of issues with electric AL, and I have reported it back to the issue tracker, but I guess I don't really have any issues with these versions. Compile speed versions again. When I used to work with Electric Eel and Dolphin, I had a very big project to work on. And if I talk about the projects that I'm working on Hedgehog and Giraffe, uh, they were mid-size to small size projects, and I don't know whether that affected the compiled speed. But I guess am not right now. I'm at a stage since last 6 months where I'm not really complaining about Gradle speeds and compile speeds. It takes a while when you start compiling for the first time on a particular day, but after that, when your studio has been live there since a long time, I don't think it has affected my compile speeds. I hope it answered your question. It was not really helpful, but when you're taking in offline event, I don't know whether I'm taking that or not. If you want to share it with your pals in Vadodara, then I guess you can use this link that they'll be sharing soon on Android Worldwide, and you can use that to share it, share this talk. Have you had any problems building anything that forced you to downgrade your IDE versions? Yes. Again, it's related to the Flutter projects that I'm working on. Like, I started using a Canary channel for my Android versions, and then I was forced to work on Flutter project. So it led me to downgrade my studio version to a stable channel. And once there was a project which was having a lot of issues every time someone committed with the AGP version, so I usually had to go down. And so that was a point of time in my life where I was actually having juggling two studio versions, where on one version everything worked really well, and on the other version, uh, there were a lot of AGP issues, and I had to toggle back and forth with the Android Studio for that particular project. But apart from that, I don't think I had to downgrade my IDE for any other reason. Ktor, I have honestly not used it yet, so I cannot comment on that. But I am good with what we have right now. Like, I'm used to retrofit, and that works fine with me.
Sweet. The last comment we have is more of it's a thank you, not a question.
Thank you.
But
Good to hear that this is a valuable experience for you. That's what I'm here for.
okay, perfect, perfect, and in great timing too. Um,
Yeah, because my device gave up on me, I finished on time.
well, Priya, thank you so much for coming on through, for giving an excellent presentation. And I figure we'll be uploading the video within the next. Usually, we don't take more than a week to 2 weeks. So,
Right.
if anybody in the future is watching this, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me here. I hope you liked my talk.
Thank you. Bye, Priya.
Bye.